In tonight's Spotlight segment, profound sadness and outrage in the wake of a horrifying discovery. Beautiful 12-year-old Jameshia Conner was found battered, beaten, and strangled in an alleyway behind a vacant building in Chicago Monday morning. She had been missing for 2 long weeks, but cops say she had been dead no more than 1 day. Now, Jameshia's devastated family is claiming cops did not take this child's case seriously enough from the get-go. Jameshia's mom reported her missing November 16th. Cops say they started distributing missing posters the following day, but did cops go into action the very second she went missing? Experts say the initial hours are the most crucial. Jameshia's family says they did not react fast enough and they mislabeled the child as a runaway. Police say they did not do that.
You can't fault the police for the investigation that they conducted over these last 2 weeks. It clearly shows over 20 reports that were submitted, flyers that were handed out.
All right, the Chicago Police Department tells the issues that they got to work, quote, 2 minutes after the missing report was filed. I will have more on what cops have just told us in a statement released moments ago in a second. Meanwhile, a vigil was held Tuesday night in the very same alleyway where Jameshia's body was found. One of her little friends spoke out between tears.
I miss you dearly, so I hope I see you again. I miss you and I love you.
Heart-wrenching. Tonight's big issue, every second counts. Did authorities move fast enough when it came to launching this investigation? Did they give this child the highest priority? Tonight, I'm honored to have with me in a primetime exclusive, Jameshia Conner, Jameshia's father, along with Pastor Chris Harris from the Bright Star Church of God, as well as Mike Gravlin, Mr. Conner's attorney. Also with us, Brian Monroe, visiting professor at Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism. Mr. Conner, first of all, our deepest condolences over the loss of your daughter. I can't even imagine, sir, what you are going through right now, and my heart goes out to you. What is so unbelievably horrifying is that police are saying your daughter was alive for most of the time that she was missing, about 2 weeks. That she was killed at most only a day before her body was found. What do you feel about that? Do you feel that if the search had been handled differently, she might have been found in time? And if so, why do you feel that way?
Well, first of all, I'll speak on his behalf. First and foremost, we need to give him an opportunity to be able to grieve in this horrific time in his life. In July, he lost his best friend, and then in September, he lost his mother, and then now his child. And the reality is, while many times media is chasing a story, we need to take this opportunity to trace some solutions so that other family members that are being affected by this same type of situation, we can make sure that we develop him as a leader. And unfortunately, a lot of times public leaders are developed out of private tragedy. And so we are going to be celebrating the life of his baby on Tuesday night, on December 8th at 7 o'clock p.m., given a memorial. And certainly there are so many questions that are unanswered at this time. And
I have a couple of them, and I'd like to get to. The Chicago Police Department is under fire. However, they defend their procedures. Listen to this.
You can't fault the police for the investigation that they conducted over these last 2 weeks. It clearly shows over 20 reports that were submitted, flyers that were handed out, leads messages that were created. There's nothing that needs to be changed in the investigative process of the Chicago Police Department.
Jameshia's family has questioned whether detectives mistakenly labeled the 12-year-old as a runaway and wrongly treated her disappearance as a missing persons case. Police deny that. However, a Chicago Sun-Times investigation found that not all missing persons cases are investigated equally, and that race and age often play a big role in the level of urgency. Critics claim when it comes to urban Chicago teens, cops are too quick to label missing children as runaways, and then that label diminishes the urgency of the situation because it's interpreted as a voluntary situation. So let me go to the attorney, Mike Gravlin. Do you feel that that's what happened here or not?
I think very potentially that's what happened here. This child was missing for 13 days at least before she was found. If she was from another background, perhaps if she had some more money, I think there would have been a lot more scrutiny and a lot more attention earlier on in this action.
Well, we just got moments ago a response from the Chicago PD, and they say literally 2 minutes after the missing report was filed by the family, it was entered into our missing persons database. That was the evening of November 16th. And they say an hour after the info was entered into our database, it was entered into the NCIC database. That's the National Center for Missing Exploited Children. That's the database that feeds the Center for the Missing and Exploited Children. So I want to go back to Kiwanis Conner. I know this is very difficult for you, sir, but we are trying to make sure that your precious child did not die in vain by learning something very important from this. From what I read, your family is saying that they asked the police to canvass a neighborhood. They asked them to visit registered sex offenders in the area, and you're claiming that they said, no, basically we need probable cause, which is not necessarily the case because we cover here on Issues every day. When a child goes missing, they visit all the registered sex offenders. What did they not do, Mr. Conner?
Well, actually, I don't know. I just want to thank everybody for what they did do. As far as the police, the people that was helping me out, I really, as far as trying to get myself together and over this here and make sure I bury my baby and make sure I can help somebody else's family for not even going through this here. That's not even, my focus on thinking of that. I ain't thinking of no negative. I'm thinking thank everybody for what they did do. And there's a lot of people out here that have done a lot, and I just want to make sure I put my baby away and, then go for another day.
And then there'll be more details that we'll be able to share at the press conference that we'll be having at her memorial service on Tuesday night. And so at this time, we're looking for more information. We're looking for more leads, and we want to be able to speak educated. We want to make sure that we are informed in the things that we say.
Brian Monroe, the family has been quoted in numerous articles as complaining about the police response. What do you make of all of this?
Well, first of all, I send my prayers to Mr. Conner and his family, but it's sad the reaction that appears to have happened to this from the officials. If this case would have happened out in the suburbs, for instance, a few miles from here is where the Lacey Peterson case was. There would have been dogs and searches and helicopters, press conferences, Amber Alerts. Where was the Amber Alert in this case? We have to treat these cases. I've got a daughter about her age, and if something like this happened, I would want the police and all of the officials out there canvassing the neighbors, checking on all potential leads, and really taking this seriously.
You know what I'd want? I'd want search dogs immediately. Every time we cover one of these cases and they bring in the search dogs a couple of days later, I'm like, why didn't they bring them 5 minutes after this happened? Rush the search dogs, because that's the best lead you can get if you can get a scent on the person to track where they went. Congressman Bobby Rush from Illinois spoke out about Jameshia's tragic case at Tuesday night's vigil in her memory. Let's listen.
I am confused, and I am also disturbed. The entire city should have been alerted that there was a 12-year-old girl missing.
This case is on the radar of the national media and Congress, and we are also very pleased to have with us tonight Finis Conner, Jameshia Conner's aunt, the aunt of this poor murdered child. Thank you, Finis, for joining us. Is there a message? If you could send one message, if there was something that we could learn from this unspeakable tragedy, what would you like to say about it?
We just have to take our children more seriously. We have to watch everything, and we have to watch everyone, basically.
I'm getting a disconnect here because Kiwanis Conner, the father of this poor child, I know that you're being so gracious and so kind and so courageous right now to even speak, and you're thanking everybody for everything they did. But you are quoted, or your family is quoted in a stack of news articles as saying you're upset with the police response. So can you solve it for me? I'm a little confused.
Well, again, I'll speak on his behalf. The reality is you have two sides of the family. And unfortunately, when you have a divided home or separated parents, the reality is the power of protection many times ends up in the hands of the ones who are right there with the child. And so, again, he doesn't have all of the details at this time. And what we're trying to do is give him an opportunity to grieve over his baby. And in time, when we find out more answers, when we get more information, then we'll be able to give some more direct answers.
Pastor. Thank you, Mr.
It's
Conner.
a pleasure.
Thank you, Fenice Conner, the aunt. We pray they find the person responsible for this horror.
Yes.